We continue with the Canestraro document reading. This time, Donald Canestraro is actually interviewing a special agent, FBI special agent, known as CS-5. What I'll do is I'll make myself disappear. In August of 2016, I interviewed a former FBI special agent whose identity is known to me. The agent is herein referred to as CS-5. CS-5 told me that prior to 9/11, he was assigned to terrorism matters. CS-5 told me that the New York field office was responsible for investigations linked to Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda. CS-5 recalled that he was familiar with the names Omar al-Bayoumi and Fahad al-Damari. CS-5 stated that the two individuals mentioned above were the subject of an FBI investigation centered in San Diego, California. According to CS-5, al-Bayoumi had contact with San Diego-based 9/11 hijackers Dawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Midar. In addition, CS-5 recalled that the 9/11 Commission's investigation into the alleged Saudi connection into the hijackers was flawed in that it did not, I'll make myself disappear again, so this way you can read it, like I said. It did not delve deeply enough into the backgrounds of Omar al-Bayoumi and Fahad al-Damari. CS-5 stated that during his tenure at the FBI, he read a teletype outlining the Bureau's investigation into Bayoumi and was therefore familiar with the investigation of al-Bayoumi's activities. So here we have San Diego FBI, who knew about Omar al-Bayoumi, was known to the FBI in San Diego, and Fahad al-Damari, who was also known to the San Diego FBI as well. Now, whether this comes from their own sources within the Islamic community or a contact, or as they call a confidential source, a CS1 or CS2, depends on the importance of the information to get a ranking, that they're telling the FBI agent, their handler, about these individuals. And according to the Operation Encore edits, they had sources inside the King Fahd Mosque, where Fahad al-Damari was an imam, and where Omar al-Bayoumi lived in San Diego. CS-5 stated that a key planning meeting for the 9/11 attacks took place in Malaysia sometime in early 2000. Actually, it was January 3rd to January 5th of 2000. That's when the meeting took place in a condominium owned by an Indonesian businessman with links to a terrorist organization that is affiliated with Al-Qaeda called Jemaah Islamiyah. And for those who are knowledgeable about the subject, one of the co-leaders, Ridwan Isamuddin, also known as Hambali, is currently in Guantanamo Bay. He was called the Osama bin Laden of the Philippines, Indonesia, Southeast Asia. Alleged to have bombed several Catholic churches, several churches in Indonesia, and for his alleged involvement in the Bali bombings of 2002, the second worst terrorist attack after 9/11. Nobody talks about that, by the way, anymore. I did a whole article on that. And that was led by, the Philippines government actually executed 3 men, Muklis, Iman Samudra, and Bin Dop, I think that was his name. They had 2 others that actually, were given life sentences. CS-5 stated that the U.S. intelligence agency learned about the meeting by conducting a wiretap on a phone belonging to an Al-Qaeda safe house in Yemen. And this is where the whole, if you want to learn like the essence of 9/11, it's pre-intelligence. The monitoring of the Yemen hub, the monitoring of bin Laden's satellite phones. Because, like I've always said before, if they're talking about terrorist attacks on these phones in the mid-90s, that means that the government basically did nothing to protect us and allowed these things to happen, it looks like. Or they weren't talking about these attacks and they may have no involvement. And so it doesn't matter. And now we got to say, well, it looks like the investigation into Al-Qaeda was wrong or incomplete. But nobody talks about this. And, this is really important. You want to make a case about government complicity or malfeasance, and even a cover up, well, it's right here. This is the reason why I do these videos. I don't do them because I don't think, we can't do anything about it. We can. We just need the attention it deserves. Too bad I'm not a very large channel. My old channel, I had 6,000 followers. Now I'm up to 200. Just hit 200 yesterday. I can't get back my old channel. It's hacked. So I started this new one. CS-5 recalled that an FBI agent had given the number to the CIA and other intelligence agencies following an interview conducted in the late 1990s with an al-Qaeda operative who was cooperating with U.S. authorities following the operative's arrest in East Africa. That's Mohammed al-Olahi, who was the only survivor of the 1998 East Africa bombings. However, the FBI agent John Antisev, who visited him, didn't know that the CIA and the NSA already had that number in the Yemen hub. The FBI didn't know this because they kept the FBI out of the loop. Why? They can't say that they were basically trying to regain informants. That plan came up in 99 with the CIA's Counterterrorism Center. So if it started in 96, what was this about? Why not inform the FBI of what's going on? Because we're talking about people that are a direct threat to the United States because of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the barracks bombing, Beirut barracks bombing, the bombing in Riyadh. According to CS-5, it was not possible for the CIA to place a clandestine listening device in the meeting. As a result, the CIA could only direct Malaysian authorities to conduct physical surveillance of the meeting, and they did. In fact, they took photographs of the people coming in and out of the meeting and gave it to the CIA. The CIA didn't even give it to the NSA. And it was the NSA who started this operation because they were cracking the phones of bin Laden's satellite phone, and then they started monitoring the Yemen hub, the al-Qaeda communications hub, because that number kept calling bin Laden's satellite phone. And now they had the nexus of al-Qaeda all around the world. But the CIA found out about it because they had an analyst working with the NSA on the case, and Shoya went to the NSA's, I want to say deputy director or director of signals intelligence, and it was Barbara McNamara at the time, and they had an argument about whether or not, the CIA should actually get the transcripts of the other line, because the CIA had a monitoring device inside the house, listening device. But the NSA said, no, we're not giving you the other Hampshire transcripts, because they couldn't hear who was calling the house, the CIA. The NSA could. They could listen to incoming and outgoing. CIA could only listen to outgoing, whoever's in the house talking. Imagine what these people were talking about. This is the power of information, right? What do you do with information? Do you act on it or do you not? Right? Say, for example, let's play a hypothetical. 9/11. If the 9/11 attacks were talked about on the phone, that means the NSA and the CIA heard it. God knows who else. Israel, Saudi Arabia, whatever. Right? Just go with these two. CIA higher ups can basically say, well, listen, according to our foreign policy advisors, some of them would see the benefit of attack. We could possibly get more money with our agencies by complaining that we don't have enough manpower to act on it. Now, if you're saying you're going too far, right? Well, then guess what? You're going to have to explain to me why the CIA and the NSA won't share this information with anybody, why they want to classify it under national security. Hey, we're 23 years after the attacks. It's well over. You could just tell us what they said on these phone calls, right? I'm not saying that the CIA and NSA knew about specifics. I'm probably going to say that they didn't. But who knows? According to Thomas Drake, the former senior executive of the NSA, he said he gave Maureen Baginski, director of signals intelligence, I think that was her, or director of national intelligence, signals intelligence, I think, or national intelligence. She was the NSA director of something. I forgot. But he said that if this information was known to the NSA at the time, if it was read on time, could have stopped 9/11. Meaning, we're talking about it on the fucking phones. That they knew that these hijackers were inside the United States, that they bought their plane tickets, knew what times they were going to go on these planes, and know what planes they were going on. Had all their phone numbers. They had these guys were living right outside, right in your face. They used their real names. So it's not so outside the box when you think about it. CS-5 stated that the CIA did learn, however, that al-Hazmi and al-Midar had multiple entry visas that allowed them to travel in the United States. And they got that through the Visa Express program, which only extended to Saudi Arabia. Didn't extend to Afghanistan, Pakistan. But Saudi Arabia they wanted to build relationships with. Well, the terrorists knew that. They went to two U.S. embassies, Riyadh and Jeddah. PS5 recalled that the information was not passed to the FBI. Why not? They're coming to the United States. This is Mark Rossini. Mark Rossini, the famous whistleblower FBI, basically, knew about this cable that came into because he worked at Alex Station, which was the Bin Laden station under the CIA, and they had FBI agents working there too. But they didn't share everything with the FBI, and the FBI basically took some information without CIA approval, and it caused a big argument within the. So, because listen, if it deals with inside the United States, it's a Department of Justice matter. CIA is not a judicial agency. So if the CIA knew there were two known terrorists, by the way, Nawaf al-Hazmi, Khalid al-Mihdhar, known al-Qaeda operatives, known. Because Saudi Arabia, the intelligence services, led by Prince Turki bin Faisal, the head of the General Intelligence Directorate, also known as the Arabic Mahabet, told the government, the United States government, that and the CIA and FBI, that Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi were definitely indeed al-Qaeda operatives before they even entered the country, before they even went to the meeting in Malaysia. Knew that they were running guns in Saudi Arabia. If that's the case, CIA has a right to share that information with the Department of Justice, FBI, and say, hey, start monitoring these people inside the United States. Why didn't they do that? Let me tell you why. And nobody covered this besides Gray Zone, Kit Clarenberg, and of course, Florida Bulldog. They're the ones who broke the case, Florida Bulldog, that there was a high-level covert operation operating inside the United States in monitoring Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, and they involved who? The CIA and Saudi intelligence. It's already public record. Thank you, General Canestraro. Most important document we've ever had. CS-5 stated it was his belief that the information was not passed to the FBI as the CIA was running a long-term intelligence operation to penetrate al-Qaeda. See, there it is. It's illegal. It was illegal anyway. Wasn't known to the State Department that we know of. Wasn't known to the Department of Justice. This is the reason why they didn't tell nobody. And they lied. They lied to the 9/11 Commission. They lied to Joint Inquiry. Committed perjury. Tenet did. Truth Movement filed that up. Nope. We don't believe in hijackers. In other words, if we don't believe in hijackers, and there's no reason to listen to the Joint Inquiry, read the Canestraro document, or any other document, if you're of this demented brain set. However, an investigation by the 9/11 Commission showed that no information was sent to the CIA to the FBI regarding the Malaysia meeting and the multiple entry visas obtained by al-Hazmi and al-Mihdhar. Knew they were coming to the United States. Now it's an FBI matter. In fact, if the FBI had been told by the CIA about al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi, they would have started monitoring them as soon as they got off the plane. In fact, Khalid al-Mihdhar basically says when he was transferring from Malaysia to Bangkok that he thought he was being followed. He most likely was. But by who? CS-5 states that the FBI conducted an after-action investigation into the events leading up to 9/11. And according to CS-5, the investigation was conducted by a special agent assigned to the Washington field office for officials at FBI headquarters. CS5 told me that he was astounded by the 9/11 Commission report, as the commission did not conduct a thorough investigation of Osama bin Laden's associates because they were pressured by the CEO, the director of the 9/11 Commission, Philip Zelikow, who is an extension of the Bush Department's White House State Department, who is protecting Saudi Arabia, their interests. And they still do it, by the way, to this day. They're fighting right now. They're arguing about whether or not certain information should be declassified involving Saudi Arabia and the hijackers. They're thinking about it. Let me think about that. There's nothing to fucking think about. Just do it. CS5 stated that his colleague, a former FBI special agent whose identity is known to me, has knowledge of the Saudi connection to 9/11. In addition, CS5 identified a former FBI analyst whose identity is known to me as having information regarding the events leading up to 9/11. According to CS5, the analyst was prevented by the CIA for giving critical intelligence information to the FBI. CS5 stated that the information about the two San Diego hijackers were given to the FBI special agents. It is possible that the 9/11 attacks would have been disrupted. And people like Richard Blee and Alfreda Ambakowski and Michelle Ann Casey, they could all live with themselves. CS5 told me that he was aware of the electronic communication to the analyst from a special agent assigned to the New York field office. That's Doug Miller, Mark Rossini, right? They're the ones who read the cable. Special agent's identity is known to me. According to CS5, the electronic cable was sent in the weeks prior to 9/11 attacks. The electronic cable stated that unless the analyst was able to release the information to the special agent, someone's going to die. Now, Steve Bongard said that, FBI Washington field office. He actually was arguing with Dina Corsi in an email. Dina Corsi, I think, was an FBI legal analyst, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but I think she was. Basically said, we need to act on this information or else someone's going to die. Steve Bongard. And he got a lot of credit in the joint inquiry. It was hidden behind a partition. Carl Levin actually said, I can't say your name, but you deserve the recognition, blah, blah. CS5 stated that the special agent was so adamant that he provided information. Let me make myself go up here now. Information for his investigation that he nearly came over the table at CIA officials at a meeting with the FBI's counterterrorism squad prior to 9/11. That's Steve Bongard, the man who deserves a lot of credit. He tried. Not everybody's in on it. Stop listening to Christopher Bowen, Rebecca Roth, CIT, Loose Change, and all these idiots. Freaking idiots. Well, the entire government's involved. Now, you got to be a simpleton to believe that, right? CS5 stated that the CIA's reluctance to give information to the FBI regarding the San Diego hijackers didn't make sense to many agents assigned to the New York field office counterterrorism squad. Because the CIA was running an illegal operation. That's why. That's why they didn't do it. They would have gotten in trouble. This reluctance has led CS5 to conclude that the CIA was running an intelligence operation targeting Al Qaeda that somehow involved Al Hazmi Al Midar. It didn't take two brain cells to put that up. Everybody knew, but they couldn't prove it. CS5 stated that he believed the CIA's operation may have spun out of control and that they, the CIA, came to the FBI with limited information in an attempt to locate the hijackers without revealing the true nature or extent of their operation against Al Qaeda. And there it is, right? So right there shows that the FBI didn't know about these two men until weeks prior to 9/11, but then it was too late, didn't know where they were. Even the CIA didn't know where they were because they lost them. And of course, why would they want to follow? But to this point, because the CIA didn't want to know too much, or maybe they really did lose them. But guess who didn't lose them? The Israeli and Saudi intelligence operations. And if anybody has intimate knowledge, it might be them. Might be them. Because I don't have information, I don't have evidence that basically says, yes, they did have. Because we don't have that. Okay? All right. Listen, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you in the next video. Take care.